Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you are wondering why my setup looks like this compared to the usual setup, it's because I'm actually recording this from my phone right now. My computer, computer's fine now in the sense that I've actually reinstalled Windows, I haven't recovered everything. I reinstalled most of my apps. The problem is I have to run this some very tedious process on my hard drive just and I'm seeing so many parts of, oh, this segment's unreadable, this segment's unreadable, this segment's unreadable. The good news is it's not a whole long sequence, but it is broken in chunks, so I know there are parts that are still readable. Hopefully I can recover some files from there. So let this be a note to everyone to don't forget to update and back up your systems. That said, I am doing a very quick bit on the Neon Arcade here. Okay, just move that aside so you can see it's Neon Arcade. And the Neon Arcade has a very special emblem. Can Okay, so it's the high score emblem. So whenever you cast a spell, it basically it wants you to cast spells of higher and higher mana value. It'll start at 0. Let's say you cast a mana value, cast a 1 drop that gives you a treasure token. You cast another 1 drop, nope, nothing happens because you're at 1. Cast a 2 or a 3, then it basically asks you to keep going higher and higher. So that's pretty much how it goes. So this is a singleton event. It's alchemy singleton. Looks like all singleton events might be defaulting to alchemy if not historic. So we're going to choose our deck right now. And we're actually gonna just go through 1 or 2 run-throughs of this. It's called singleton discard here. It's really more singleton control. I'm gonna go through the deck edit just to show you guys what's up here. I'm really curious how the interface looks like. It might be, I don't know if it's gonna be more readable or less readable on smartphones. That's gonna be an interesting part. Well, first of all, it's huge, so we have to definitely shrink that one. So if we go through the overview, first of all, that's very slow. Okay, there we go. That. Okay, there we go. So, okay, it actually still looks kind of the same, except for my face here. Let's move it over to the side. I'm gonna be moving my face around quite a bit. So it's primarily the control shell, but because we're running in singleton, we have to add in a different flavor here. So, the flavor we're adding is pretty much discard. It pretty much helps wreck up opposing decks. Yeah, I can see that my face is gonna be very hard to align properly. I'm so not used to doing recordings over your phone. I'm not a selfie kind of guy. But anyway, it's pretty much a bevy of discard and the usual control shell. We are running most of the Planeswalkers in black and white. Onyx, Kaya, Lot. Count Dracula here is actually Sorin. No, let's put Sorin back. Wandering Emperor is in. So we are running most of the big hits here. So you're probably getting a view of how it looks like. Okay. Also, kind of want to change the cosmetic for that. Though I realize it is awfully slow. To be fair, my phone does not actually support. Does not natively support Magic the Gathering Arena. I'm kind of running this sideways. I kind of sideloaded this one, so I'm just making the most out of a situation here. Okay. And yeah, you're definitely putting this in. Yeah. But other than pretty much we have the bevy of removal, soul shatter, and whatnot. We also have a bit of a learn package as well. That's pretty much what I could say. If you do check the description if you want to see the full deck list. Oh yeah, we're also running quite a good number of board wipes because it is pretty much mid-range city in this event right here. So having having one of our 5 drop or 6 drop removals kind of works here. So our early game plan is hopefully to discard enough cards from our opponent to slow them down so we can take control later. How did the I did run a few two runs with this. First run I zeroed out, not so great. Second run I did go all the way with 4 wins, so on average 2 wins I guess. We'll see. I made a change or two, but not nothing too significant along those lines. I also don't know if we can. Okay, we'll just play anyway. So also this is probably a good time for me to also figure out how long can I record, because there is a pretty much a 2 to 3 gig limit on recording videos over the phone, so I can't do very long runs here. Not so sure about the quality as much either. But pretty much I'm going to do a very quick run here just to at least keep the channel going, as in a sense to keep it alive for the most part. I haven't actually. Let's see. As far as stuff I lost when the hard drive is now on life support. Okay, definitely keeping this one. It's admittedly sketchy. We don't have anything to do until much later. In fact, I think I'm gonna actually mulligan this into Treelander, but we have a Humiliate, so we are gonna keep this. We are gonna bid farewell to Farewell. Yes, the interface is a bit weird. I did bid farewell to Farewell, right? Nope. Still there. Wow, it's gonna be so hard to move cards around. What the heck? Nope. No, I need that Humiliate. There, take that Farewell. There we go. Super awkward. Oh wait, there's also a slider there. I didn't notice. That's kind of my fault. Oops. So we are definitely playing Scarred Barons turn 1 because we definitely need to Humiliate turn 2. I am okay with giving up the Hogra Mauling because we need to hit number 4 fast. Opponent also playing black. It could be mono black, but I suspect this is a black-white combo. We got ourselves a Sinkhole. Yeah, there is quite a bit of lag here. I guess it comes with the territory if you are recording. So, gonna Humiliate. Target an opponent. So we get ourselves a token. If we can hit an untapped land that gives us a 4. Okay. All of these are quite bad. We'll take out the one that can remove our stuff, so Wandering Emperor it is. Apologies to our opponent on the situation. Opponent burns their counter. You know, but they have the land set up, so we are gonna be super delayed. We'll most likely lose Edgar. And I think our opponent, yeah, has a snow cover, so we are. We got ourselves an Aghanim Awakening, but nothing to really cast with it, so we're gonna just face Snowfield. Yeah, Sige, I'll bring it. Okay, so next. So I would say the nice advantage is I can actually move around. Okay. Sige. Let's see. Opponent is casting Edgar Tromboon. So not bad. I actually get to do errands while I'm here. And so here's the thing. We probably do want to cast a 4-drop now. We could actually go for a preserve the token, which I kind of want to do. Probably also want to smash Edgar into Edgar. Yeah, we're definitely playing this as a land. So we're probably just gonna bump Edgar's here. Opponent has a much better run at this than I have right now. And grabbing your juice to memory. Oh god. Perfect answer to Edgar. So not looking very well for us. Sometimes that is the break that we have. We probably could just chump block, but no. It's kind of a long stretch for us right now for us to win here. Let's see. We tend to need a lot more black. We do want to untap given the oh no, Onyx is fine. Unfortunately, we don't have any creatures. We really have to generate blockers, so hold on. Yeah, we kind of have to do this. We can play Agadim if we need to anyway. As much as I'd like to play in the Lantern half, we need to set up. We need to set up for Professor Onyx next turn. Definitely not attacking. We are gonna take another 4 up top, which is gonna be a problem though. Tainted Adversary is a big killer. Opponents. There we go. Swinging in. We hit our Onyx. But yeah, we're probably gonna get killed in the air anyway because of Terror Grid. We can swing with Terror... Oh wait. Yeah, because here's the thing. Yeah, we're gonna lose this one. But we do get to show you one of the side plans that we have if it actually pans out.
Open your books to page 17 or something. You'll learn the power of death.
Oh yeah, but that also does not work with Edgar because it's our opponent's turn. So we are going to concede here. So not an auspicious start. That is kind of how it goes. Also not an auspicious start that the recording is god slow, but that is what it is. We'll take our first defeat. Hopefully we can get a better opening. Okay, maybe this could be the future. I just probably need to upgrade the phone to a better phone. It would if it supports Magic, I guess it's fine. I will probably need to work on uploading screenshots. I probably just have to do a new quick edit until I can get those files back. The one that as far as most of our work files, we have most of our files already backed up, so that one is fine. It's mostly my streaming files and pretty much some of the recordings from different conferences. That's the one that I feel bad about. So for you guys not to have that heartache again, please have a backup system. So that said, while we are waiting for the server to continue, also because I did go up and go downstairs, so there could be a bit of a network issue that way. I'm also wondering if me scrolling down notifications gets recorded too. This is gonna be a test as well. So don't mind the stuff don't mind that, please. Wow, super slow. Yep, that is the travail of doing recording on the phone. And that's actually the travails of playing Magic Arena on the phone as well. That's a bit of a toughie. I'm pretty sure I can log on again in the PC if I want to, but not gonna be quite satisfying here. Like I was already so tempted to just record my record my computer monitor by just pointing the phone at it and just going for it. But yeah, thankfully there is some good enough screen recording software. I probably should also do a test to see. Yeah, X recorder displaying over other apps. That's correct. I can turn off Bluetooth here. I'm at home. No one is going to. Yeah, basically as many things to reduce system lag. That's pretty much something I need to consider. I'm already worried now that I'm going to have to do recording of a Yu-Gi-Oh episode here. Yeah, that one was kind of long overdue, but I was actually having too much fun for once. That was a bit of a weird one. Yeah, so this is gonna be really ghetto. Also, I need to get used to aim. Yeah, the camera's off on this side over here. On the side where near the side where you can see my portrait, but I still have to keep my eyes focused on basically where the A is whenever you play. Whenever you're looking at the waiting scene, that's pretty much okay, so okay, this is super sketchy. Our opponent kept. We have only concealing curtains and nothing else. That said, I am gonna keep this because concealing curtains we're gonna try to take advantage of the high score emblem. At least having a 1-drop is a good way to start. That's pretty much what we're aiming for. This deck is awfully swamp heavy. We are taking advantage of that. So turn 2 Professor of Symbology. Depending on the situation, we can just opponent Lotus Cobra. So they're going for big mana. We probably want to do the same. Although I can cast this right now. We still get our token, but I probably want to set up the land drop. So we're gonna sack this token. So we will have 4 mana next turn. Wow, this is... I hope I clicked the correct one. Okay, they gave us the correct one. We can actually cast this now. Hold on. Yeah, I can technically cast it now, fix our land drop. The question is, do I want to just go for the 3-drop next turn? Because the alternate is... Yeah, I guess we just do it now. So if our opponent goes for a 4-drop, we can't inscription, but we can make them discard cards, and we can just kind of buy time for the time being. We can also just use inscription to kill the Lotus Cobra and hopefully set up a... hopefully set up... I did pick planes, right? Uh-oh. That did not... Okay, good, thank goodness. At least I'm not betrayed by my touchscreen. Opponent is playing 2-color. Hollow Henge Wrangler. It's going to be a pain. Because our opponent's going to have an infinite Hollow Henge Wranglers. We will need to force an exile of this. I probably would love to cast Terragrid first if I can have the choice. Yeah, I would love the Fateful Absence also, but... So... Instead of going for the card discard, which people usually expect. So next turn we will have 5 mana. Ideally, I would be able to pick up another. Yeah, because our opponent's now going to go all in on this. We're going to be so far behind. Our best bet is to just take it for now. Our opponent can't. No, they can cast the Hollow Henge Beast actually, but they will lose out on the token if they do so. We can just go for Kaya to exile just to end the threat once and for all. I would rather face off against a 5/5 vanilla than a Path of Peril works too, but yeah, we kind of have to go for Kaya. There we go. Auto pay. Now we get 1 token, so if we don't hit our land drop, we actually still get. So let's just get rid of this once and for all. The Hollow Henge Wrangler actually still works from the graveyard, so exile effect is a lot more important. That's why I can't just go for the Fear. Now we can watch our opponent is probably about to unload their hand to go for as many Hollow Henge Wranglers as possible. We probably just. My plan now is actually to probably just give up the Concealing Curtains. Yeah, especially if we go for Kaya, we give up Concealing Curtains. Thankfully, I can just go click and click. But that's the blocker. Then even if we miss out on land, we can go for Terragrid's Lantern. Wedding Invitation also buys us a bit of time.
Ghosting feels weird, right?
Yeah, we have to play the Wedding Invitation because we're not going to be able to and that gives us some leeway to hold up Fateful Absence if need be. So next turn we probably just give up Kaya next turn by exiling. That's kind of where the Fateful Absence comes in. I have to remember to aim my face where there's light. I'm kind of doing this bubble snare. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we will have to do Fateful Absence. That said, I'm probably going to cast it first in case our opponent has, let's say, a Snakeskin Veil. I need to see if there's any hope of getting it back. Protecting Kaya. If there's no hope, I'm not going to. If there's no hope, so I will actually just chump block with the token. Now, Hollow Henge Beast does have a. Oh, okay. Change of plans, Shambling Gas. That's an alternate way to buy a treasure. So we are getting greedy by playing this off for one more turn, but we might as well, if we can get both of these guys back, that's better.
You're not lacking for spirit.
And considering that we managed to survive a very early we're just kind of holding off these beasts for the time being. Now that plant, ideally it's in Terragrid its Terragrid first before we do the Invoke Despair. Our opponent does have a grip of 4 cards. We have to assume some of them are counter spells. Okay, Gnarl Professor, not so much. The Trample is going to be an issue. So we are probably going to just exile. Yeah, we're going to just exile the Gnarl Professor. I might actually just go for the hand attack at this point.
You go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the hand attack at this point because we could go for the big guns, but we need to find a way to start putting pressure on our opponent. This is a good way to do it. We can also target ourselves to sacrifice the Professor of Symbology if need be. But we're gonna start targeting our opponent first. Opponent does have a full grip among all other things. Opponent also did Tutor for Environmental Sciences, so they need a land for something big. Yeah, if nothing else, we can play Elderfang Disciple, then put another Kaya's Ghost Form token on it. Oh yeah, now another thing I need to be concerned about, the battery on my phone. Running, I should get, and currently at 36% should be fine. I'm actually not feeling any heat up, so that's quite good. So opponent's gonna go up to 4 lines, I guess. Oddly enough, if we can keep Kaya alive for as long as possible, we're good. If we lose Kaya, preferably I don't want to lose Kaya quite yet. Prosperous Innkeeper, okay, opponent. So if we do hit Path of Peril, that we really need. Also, our opponent does still have a Clue token if they're still in time. So we finally hit our 5th mana, a bit late for the Lantern, but we can kind of hold on to it for now. We need to force our opponent to start emptying their hand a bit. Opponent stacks, okay, gives them choices. Sure, why not? I could have made them. I think they discarded an emergency sequence. Yes. They still have a treasure token, so they're basically sitting at 6 mana.
You'll be fine. Trust me.
Not so sure when's the best time to target. Definitely not swinging. Yeah, we definitely have 5 mana, despite what it looks like here, because we were able to cast an Elderfang Disciple, and still have 3 mana up. Opponent goes for a Eureka moment. They're going to start reloading their hand. So yeah, we can reload our hand with Invoke Despair. Though our opponent could counter it, so that would be a bit bad. Okay, Crossroads is actually good. Let's set it to white. I believe we came. Oh, we get to untap. I'm going to untap. Gonna go for the Lantern first, see if we can get them to do something. Yeah, I'm not so fond of the freeze up. Basically, I want them to do something with their mana and instant speed. Nope. Okay. Now I'm gonna scare our opponent a little bit by swinging with Elderfang Disciple.
Ghosting feels weird, right?
I could just cast Path of Peril, but that will wipe my entire board and leave our opponent with a Hollow Henge Beast. Not a great option. Most likely our opponent just takes 2, so we're kind of accelerating the process a little bit. You know what? We need to make them use up these counter spells. So we're going to go for the Invoke Despair. They might let it go, but it will... If they let it go, we draw 2 cards and they go down to 7. And take out probably their Innkeeper. Yeah, they're gonna give up the Innkeeper. So it limits the amount of life gain they have. Oh, they had the crab. Okay, but we got rid of that, got that out of the way, so our Path of Peril is live. So that's actually fine. We got so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're sitting at 8 mana. If they go for something big like say Coma, we can just Quandrix Cultivator. Opponent trying to catch up in that. I'm tempted to just wipe the board altogether now, but Greater Tanuki. Okay, they're tapped out. We're going to wipe the board. We're going to replay some cards. Oh, we also got Edgar Charm Groom as a follow-up. Okay, first off, let's wipe that board. Leave cost. Now, we don't get a token here because it's based on mana value. This is still a mana value tree. We actually get a bunch of spirits. No, we got our opponent to concede. That's even better. So, they're not so bad. We got 1 win off this. We got 1 win off here. I have no idea how long our recording length is because this software does not tell me how long. I've recorded for about half an hour. So probably not too big. I think about 10 minutes was about 70 megs, so it should be fine. Not so sure about the quality, how the quality goes, but it is what it is. Progress on my hard drive kind of froze a bit, but if anything, the fact that it's still moving forward and the record segments that are unreadable are not the parts are sequential, but they're not. It's not a full sequential parts, so there is hope to recover some files. I might end up paying for one of those super big apps that that I'm probably going to use once or twice, but I guess if I do that, I'm going to just record. I'm just going to have to use it as part of my arsenal for fixing computers next time. Yes, that's the hard break. So there we go. We got 1 win off here. Let's see if we can get ideally 2 more wins so that we maximize the number of cosmetics here. But you kind of want 4 wins if you don't want to be losing gold. So that's a bit of pressure there. The event is meant to be a gold sink. it's kind of like we need to have ways for people to spend money. Otherwise, everyone just hoards, and all our new content just gets eaten up in a flash, which is true. I think based on that sound, we are going second again. They've taken one mulligan. We have a turn 2 vanishing verse if we need to, so we are gonna keep this one. It's awfully sketchy, I'll admit. You really want to have an early drop. I'm taking the risk on the vanishing verse having a legal target. What color did they choose? They chose blue. Not something I want to hear. We're gonna just play the Agadeem's Awakening as a land. Enters tap. And we do have enough black, so okay, opponent goes Malevolent Hermit. That's a high score emblem. I guess we're gonna do the same thing. Can't sack. Oh, they can sack it in response. But pretty much the goal is just to have the emblem. Emblem. Just to have the treasure token. They go for the Benevolent Dice, which we're gonna take a few hits here and there. So, but we're kind of setting up for hopefully we're setting up for Kaya. Opponent goes Expressive Iteration. Nice. I could just do Invoke right away, just to, depending on what our opponent has. They have 2 mana up, so I might just wait one turn. We played the Dockside Chef, and a trick we can do with this is probably just to sack the Dockside Chef at end of turn, just to draw into another card. Hopefully our opponent plays in some sort of 5-drop or whatnot. Yeah, it feels really bad going from 2 skipping it all the way to 5, but that's the hand we're dealt. Opponent probably has a full grip of counter spells, so we're gonna actually just pass for now. We're gonna try swinging with the chef, see if anything happens. Trick we can also do. Okay, we're gonna play this first. We're not gonna go invitation only quite yet, but we're going to make our opponent discard cards. We could also destroy the Benevolent Dice on the board. Brittle Blast, targeting the Dockside Chef. We can still sack it though. So, get us an Elder Sign Disciple, which we can cast right away. We can force our opponent down to like a 1-lander, which would be neat. Let's see, what did they discard? Frostbites, Shatter Skull Smashing. I guess we go for it. If they have a Jawari Disruption, I'd rather they use it up now. Discarded. You're discarding a lot of burn here. Burn down the house. Makes a bunch of devil tokens. No point taking all that damage, so we're actually going to just block with Elder Fang Disciple. They could have a negate, which would make the buy, but we do have to play the by invitation only. so we go down to 11. Yeah, taking a bit of a beating here. Okay, their card's empty. So remember to play this in white because we do have between this and farewell. So I'm gonna choose. Yeah, just making sure. At least we got our opponent to live off the top of their deck, which is pretty good. So next turn we can go invoke. Okay, opponent. Actually, with the card in hand, we're gonna just play the City Stalker Connoisseur. I'm gonna force them to cast whatever it is. We can then go Professor Symbology for some backup strats. It's greatest mana value, so they will discard that one card no matter what. Oh, it's an Abrade. Okay. Got them to use it. Not so bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably gonna take the mascot exhibition. There. No, we're gonna. There we go. So all that discard kind of worked. Not so sure what our opponent has in hand, but we are going to. We could actually just go for the draw 3 cards. There's an alternate strat. So first we're gonna go for the attack. See if our opponent has a response. So we're gonna go for Concealing Curtains. Activate, force our opponent to show us what he's got. Unexpected Windfall. Yep, you're discarding that. Don't know if we made it better or worse, but we are not giving our opponent a free 2 cards. Hall of Storm Giants, a little bit late there. Mirror Shell Crab, hard pass. So it has Ward, but we have a counter to that. Probably not, we're gonna just invoke Despair here. We have to remember to hold something up. Our opponent did play a Hall of Storm Giants, so Sparring Regiment's also nice, but let's go for Invoke Despair first. Target opponent. So that gets us 2 cards. Okay, we get to also. We're gonna preserve the token, so we're gonna play Cursebound Witch. Opponent's doing a count on their mana, so I'm willing to attack here. We are still a ways away from winning though. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Opponent goes Geist Channeler. Kinda have to do that because just to set up blockers. We do have Sparring Regiment though, so nope, opponent concedes. We got there. Whew, we managed to hold out long enough. Pretty much, yeah. I was kind of worried that we are going to get into a setup where we're going to need multiple board wipes. Turns out, in most cases, you can get away with having one board wipe in hand, or you draw into it. I would probably prefer 2. So far we haven't hit the red-green matchup. That is the one deck that can really unload. So you definitely want to have at least 2 there. And so far, yeah, this is not. Yeah, I don't think I can make this a very long video though. We're sure we're at the 44-minute mark already at this point, but There is really a limit. I don't. This is basically first time with emergency technology, making the best out of a bad situation. Also, making the best out of waiting for the server. Yeah, we're currently at 26%, so I'm probably gonna actually grab a charging cable. I actually have another charging cable I could use, but I only have one USB port here. Hopefully, my computer doesn't die as I do this. So 2 wins, 1 loss. Any game can be our last from here. Hopefully we get at least one more win. I would prefer to win the next two. Oh, who does not want to win the next two? Yeah, so sorry that you had to see 2 minutes of me waiting up and loading, but I guess it's me talking through not just. Okay, so definitely keeping this. The turn for Sorin is really good here, and we can let's break some expectations. We can't mess with their turn 1 plays, but we can pretty much mess with everything else onwards. Also, be careful, you can target ourselves with this. And more often than not, okay. We are going to have problems with Toski, so we're gonna take Toski out. So turn 2 Scarred Barons, no real need to play anything quite yet. Turn 3, probably we can just play Sorin right away, but we would need an additional land if we need to invoke. Okay, opponent takes a weapon raft. Okay. Ooh. 2 tap lands. Neither of these are really great options, but yeah, we need to have as much black as possible. We know our opponent gets to do Outland Liberator next, so we probably just go a Ganjo Sorin. Opponent does feel like they're playing Mono Green though. They can go into Uvenwald next, which is scary. So, however, since we know... So they now have 2 choices, Cemetery Prowler or Uvenwald. I forgot what... I know it's always Uvenwald. Uvenwald Oddity. So if our opponent's not casting Uvenwald Oddity, so we're gonna go for the Fateful Absence now. Otherwise we lose the treasure token, which would be a disaster. Opponent can destroy our treasure token in response. They chose not to. If they go for Path of Peril does have a weakness in that it only hits like 2 drops and less. Unless I hit the full 6 mana, which is gonna... I can hit the full 6 mana, it's gonna be a while. I am more likely to go for... Okay, Cemetery Prowler. They're going to exile... They exile their Outland Liberator to make their creature cheaper. Yikes. I'm gonna just invoke Despair. It eats up both tokens, but the next play is probably gonna be Kaya, so not not too bad. Also, yeah, Invoke Despair's been kind of very good at what the. Its most helpful part is helping us refill our hand. Also of note that if they had a Snakeskin Veil, it doesn't quite help. They have the treasures, but Snakeskin Veil doesn't really quite help here. I think Tamio Safekeeping only targets permanents also, so there are a few cards that give incidental hexproof to you, just not in green. Opponent letting the timer burn. Yeah, the draw two cards is probably gonna be very big for us. Isn't that right? Yeah, my dog is sleeping right now. Oops. Yep, looks like we're watching the rope burn. Okay, we got our land, we got our wedding invitation, but we're not gonna cast quite yet. If our opponent goes say Uvenwald, I'm sure we take the hit. We can just go Kaya next. We can also start the setup with wedding invitation, but I probably want to do Kaya first. Clear the board. There are only so many green creatures with haste. No, looks like our opponent left the farm. Well, to be okay, that was mean of me. I should not have checked that. Anyway, let's not assume the worst. There are a lot of things that could have happened in between, so but I'll be honest, it's very hard to convince me otherwise. Yeah, in fact, there is so much of nothing happening. I'm willing to just play wedding invitation. My usual criticism of Terragrid is that more often than not, she is usually way too late, either on the sacrifice or on the discard effects. Sometimes the stars align, but nowadays they don't quite align as much. Yeah, it really misses Doom Foretold. That was the big one. There's also a saga that helps. I actually forgot. I did not include it because there's a lot of other good cards I wanted to put in. I guess the weakest link would probably be the Citywide Connoisseur. You can just cut that for the Long Reach of Night. That would be a good way to fill the curve. It looks like our opponent might be back. Yep, they're back. So it looks like yeah, it looks like it was more technical difficulties and whatnot. So it's a good thing we kind of played conservatively there. We did not opponent going for the old growth scroll. So we probably want to be conservative also. Play Sorin first. Huh. Now this is an interesting trap we can do. We can play Terragrid and we can go my invitation only. Now Old Growth Troll, we will not be able to enchant it on anything, which is fine. Yeah. Let's set the trap. Worst case scenario, they just happen to have the Blizzard Brawl. I'm kind of fine with that. Also of note, if our opponent just plays the Uvenwald, we now have 2 creatures to sacrifice. Hopefully it's not no Blizzard Brawl, please. Or Inscription of Abundance would also be a pain here too. Prosperous Innkeeper. Okay, not so great. We now have to Ravenwald Oddity. We now have to say X equals 3, so we... Oh, not gonna attack, yeah, because Terror Grid can block. Hold on. 1, 2, 3... Wait, what's our mana here? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, if we had drawn one more land, I could play Professor of Symbology and just gone to town with it. Instead, we're gonna see if this works. Yep, I was right. Now we don't get back the old growth troll. They haven't. They will just re-equip it, but we will definitely put everything else on the battlefield. So 2 out of 3 is not bad. We can play Professor of Symbology to ensure our 6 drop. We'll pass. Well, we'll attack, but then we'll pass. We kind of want to hold up a bit just in case. I might need to do a very timely... But the more important part is that we have creatures on board and our opponent does not. And if they have to play them one by one, we do get to Kaya away. But we probably actually just get away with Sorin first. Nope, never mind. Opponent concedes. Terror Grid by invitation only. Neat combo. Okay, there we go. So next game definitely our last. We did get trees. We are getting tree of the neon art cosmetics. Now we just need to get our money back. Also, I need to... Well, actually, I'm looking at the time right now. It's actually nuts. Oh, and if you're wondering why there's a red tint, I'm looking at a huge Kit Kat ad on Facebook. I'll probably just switch to something else. Interesting judge question. When it flips, does it retain its mana cost for sake of future sagas? Hold on. Wait, that... Okay, I think that sounds like a very different question. Hold on. Okay, that Sugu consumes all. Yeah, it's just buying time because it looks like the load is very long. Also, yeah, my battery is running dry, so I probably will not be able to record the Yu-Gi-Oh video later today. So probably have to do that very early tomorrow. So okay, so no relevant abilities in the Vessel of the All-Consuming. So yeah, the question was just not accurately worded, but the sentiment is quite there. Lightning Helix, Fateless Looting are good pulls. Everything else our guy pulled is meh. Well, then again, it could be worse. I could be waiting like forever for the server to catch up. Free up storage space to improve performance. My gosh, how big are the videos I'm recording? I should do it. I should do a check of the file size later. I probably should have done it when I accidentally disconnected the. When I accidentally killed the first half of this vid. Yeah, I'm gonna need to do some. I'm gonna need to do a certain non-zero amount of editing. I already. Oh. I'm. I wonder if I wonder if the YouTube editor and YouTube Studio can allow me to splice the videos over there, or do I have to do the splicing on my end first? That latter part might be a problem. Yeah, February 28th was the day my hard drive went on a coma. Hold on, let's. Okay, if I go on editor, nope, it's pretty much trim, but you can't add, so I have to do it on my end. Okay, so we know that much. Server waiting is, oh my gosh, the waiting on the server is so long. Do I have to cut this too? This is usually the one I don't cut. Oh my gosh. Technically, I could pause every time. That's something I should be doing. I'll keep that in mind. I'll probably just do the cuts right on. I'll probably just do the cuts on the last one. Man, maybe I should also just check my. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna pause this first. See you guys in a second. Okay, that wasn't actually too long. I almost decided to just kill the connection and do it over again, but okay, here we are in the last game. Let's see if we can get our money back. At least we got the max number of cosmetics, so this will take us to 7. Wow, there are 20 cosmetics available here. I'm going to be playing this event for quite a while. But this will definitely be the last game for this vid. Also, yeah, it's 40 minutes. So we are hitting the 1 hour mark here. Not nothing too long on that one. Yeah, I really need to. I'm probably gonna have to set up another front-facing light next time for this. So yeah, just fixing my position and all that. So yeah, just bear with me on this one. Apologies for this set. Apologies also for my hand occasionally blinking towards the camera. Just big hands. Okay, definitely keeping this. We have the awkward okay, we got our singleton. Well, everything's singleton, right? But we got our key to the archive, so that's a plan. I did see our opponent play a black card earlier, so no, Den of the Bugbear. I can't even read cards anymore. Oh my god. Red blue. Thundering Rebuke. Sure. Now I have enough mana that I can actually just wait. There is also the temptation to just cast the Meathook Massacre for 0. But we're gonna wait for our opponent to go for their big stuff. Nope, they're passing, which scares me. Thankfully, we have a cheap play now. This should buy us quite a bit of time. either buys us time or it eats a counter spell. I'm happy with either case. Opponent discards Frostbite. Yeah, I have to read out the cards that I can recognize from what our opponent's doing. Because I don't know how big the video is going to look. Opponent does play their third mana, Igneous Inspiration. They are going big here. It will let us drop Key to the City and hold up mana for aggro. It will also allow us to drop Wandering Emperor without any... Now, our opponent might have a counter spell for this. It would be X equal... It would have to be a 2-mana counter spell and it would eat both their treasures. No, they don't. We can actually discard the Swamp. Swamp for Time Warp sounds good. Swamp for Day of Judgment. Our opponent not playing that heavy, so... We're keeping the Hagra Mauling because we do need to... We probably need at least one piece of spot removal given our opponent's deck. I could have discarded Meathawk Massacre, but there is an off chance our opponent does go wide. Usually it's a mascot exhibition. Opponent digging for lands. They might go for a big spell. X equals... They might go for a big spell now. No, they're passing. Yeah, we're committed to the Humiliate here. Need to kind of figure out what our opponent has in hand. Then go for the Time Warp. Though even the Time Warp is gonna be a bit on the lackluster side because our only big follow-up is gonna be the Wandering Emperor and we're just gonna make a Samurai token. Yeah. Opponent divides by 0. So it's 4 or less, so they do get to learn. They get teaching of the Archaics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess we Time Warp now. Target us. Make sure you select the right targets for Time Warp. They still have 2 treasures, so a negate would be really... Actually, no, a negate is kind of fine, all things considered. We get our free turn. Then we can go for the Humiliate again. Actually, there's a trick here. Not a very good use of Wandering Emperor, but I kind of want, since I'm going for the White Samurai token, I'm going...
I am the Emperor of Kamiko, and I will protect my people.
Okay.
We must protect the people.
Then we go for the Humiliate. So we have 3 cards in hand. We have an Abrade, Syncopate, Demon Bolts. So it's a lot of removal. Teachings is going to be the big issue. We can cast Aggro Mauling, so we're gonna actually just pass. We're probably gonna lose a combination of we're probably gonna lose both our Wanderer and I think Demon Bolt can hit Planeswalkers. Yes, so we're gonna lose the Wanderer as well. We could have taken that out, but we needed to run them low on cards at this rate. Yeah. So they have 3 mana. Let's do a double check on the divide by 0 here. Divide by 0 does cost 3. Wait, they're going for Frostbite. Okay, that leaves them with 2 mana, so... Oh yeah, I think we're mana shy on this one. We're probably gonna use Hunt for Specimens for... Let's see. Let's take a look at our battlefield. We did not have a Planeswalker die yet. Oh no, we did. But is Wandering Emperor good enough to get our... Confront the Past? It's X equals 5. Our opponent can counter it. Well, our opponent can counter everything easily here, so I might actually just go for the Confront. Because Mascot Exhibition is going to get countered more easily here. Yeah, I guess we just take it. Yeah, the Syncopate is going to really do a number on our math. So we know they have 6 mana, no more treasures. If they burn everything on our board, that leaves us free to confront the past, make another samurai token. Okay, reducing our mana a bit. So we have a fish that's blocking our view. We have 6 mana. We need to preserve the 2 white, which is a big deal, so we're actually going to just attack first. So we actually could just play a game of attrition here. Like, our opponent is using up all the removal. Now we just need to survive long enough. Okay, Hive of the Eye Tyrant is a good pull. Opponent does have a Den of the Bugbear, so... we're gonna attack first. If our opponent goes Den... If our opponent goes Den, that means they don't have Hullbreaker Horror in hand. Or they could do it on attack. In which case, I can just Soul Shatter in response. That'll leave them with... trying to dig their way out of this, which is a very good call. Yeah, remember that this is pretty much our last game. Opponent doesn't know it yet, so... but we're also under as much pressure as they are. 8 mana. So we are not going to... I want to cast the Sparring Regimen, but that uses up one of our 2 treasures. And if the learn fails... Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... No, we'll just keep swinging. We'll wait for them to kind of tap out. Yeah, our opponent's just really digging right now. They're eventually gonna dig their way out of this. I do also note there's a single black mana there. Opponent goes unexpected conversion. They, if they exile the syncopate, oh no, what did they exile? Cinderclasm, yeah. So they're still holding up syncopate at X equals 5. So sparring regiment, no good. I am actually kind of tempted to cast a sparring regimen now. Because I want to open the way for Terragrid and company. Actually, let's cast a Confront the Past. Because that lets me not sacrifice any treasures. And this should be good syncopate fodder. Yeah, we're basically forcing our opponent to cast a syncopate. They just need to do X equals 1 and I will let it go. Nope. Nope, they went full out. Well, it does give them a free treasure, so that's fine. Opponent lane. Yeah, unfortunately, if we go for a spell cast, it's gonna have to be Professor Onyx. That's just to preserve the treasure tokens. We were at 5 anyway, so if they have a counter spell, sure, that's still kind of fine. Hullbreaker Horror. Into a negate. Okay, so they bounced the treasure token too. Interesting. So it all comes down to the spells in hand. Ooh. Unfortunately, we're missing a white. We're missing 2 whites, so yeah, opponent just was really waiting for the Hullbreaker to come down. Also sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 mana. Curse for discovery. Hold on. I'm actually fine with that. Because I need to get rid of... Oh, got rid of the Hullbreaker, which is good. Draws them a few more cards. Discards a land. Yeah, we kind of need at least one more land to go for Goldspan. I probably also have to leave the token behind because our opponent does have a Den of the Bugbear. If I can hit one more land, X equals... Discover the formula. Ooh, the draw 3 cards is usually killer here. Also, our opponent can start attacking with Den now, so yeah, this is kind of... Well, the game took very long. We were actually sitting on so many spells, but couldn't get a good, decent chain out of it. Gallus at Prismari. I would kill... Okay, opponent going to Celestis. We did hit our white mana, but unfortunately we're so out of tokens that we can't go for it. Yeah. Let's see if they have a counter for this. They probably do. They're looking at their mana. Yep. Good game. Yeah, they. In the end, it was a Jawari disruption, but you know what? Having to go all the way up against the Hullbreaker horror and all, we did kind of well. We really could have used some white mana, but it is what it is. I am gonna call this episode now because my phone is now at 4%. So there we go. That's gonna be it for this episode of Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, turn on notifications and whatnot. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Take care, God bless, stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.